The summer sun of Ad 378 rose heavy over the plains near Adrianople, baking the earth until dust clung to skin and armor alike. The Roman Empire, ancient, disciplined, and proud, was about to face an enemy it had underestimated. What followed would not merely be a battle. It would become a warning carved into history, the day Rome learned it was no longer invincible. An empire that believed it could not fall for centuries, Rome had ruled through order, law, and legions. Its roads stitched continents together. Its taxes fed armies. Its emperors spoke with the authority of gods, yet by the late 4th century, cracks were spreading beneath the marble. In the east, Emperor Valens ruled from Constantinople, stern, suspicious, and eager for glory. His court buzzed with intrigue, generals whispering of rivals, bishops arguing doctrine, messengers arriving daily with grim news from the frontiers. Beyond the Danube River, a storm had gathered. The Goths, once Rome's trading partners and occasional enemies, were fleeing something far worse than Roman steel, the Huns. These horse-born warriors from the east shattered Gothic villages with terrifying, desperate and starving tens of thousands of Goths, men, women, children, begged Rome for asylum. Valens agreed. The agreement was simple: cross the Danube, lay down your weapons, serve Rome. But Rome failed to keep its promise. Betrayal at the border, Roman officials tasked with managing the refugees, most infamously Lupicinus and Maximus, saw opportunity in suffering. Food was withheld. Supplies were sold at extortionate prices. Ancient sources tell us Gothic parents were forced to trade their own children for... Gothic elder is said to have whispered bitterly, "We crossed the river to escape death, and found it wearing Roman cloaks. Hunger turned to rage. When Roman officers attempted to assassinate Gothic leaders during a banquet at Adrianople, the fragile peace shattered. The Goths rose in revolt, joined by runaway slaves and disaffected tribes. Villages burned. Roman patrols vanished. War had begun. The emperor marches to glory by 378. The Gothic War had dragged on for 2 years. Emperor Valens, eager to claim victory without sharing credit, ignored advice to wait for reinforcements from his young co-emperor Gratian in the west. His scouts reported the Gothic army was smaller than it truly was. It was a fatal mistake. On August 9, near Adrianople, modern Edirne, Turkey, the Roman army, around 30,000 strong, formed its battle lines under the merciless sun. Legionaries stood in heavy armor, shields locked, standards raised, cavalry waited on the flanks, trumpets echoed across the plain. Across from them stood the Goths led by Fritigern, a leader both cunning and patient. Their wagons formed a defensive circle, a laager, with families and supplies inside. Much of their cavalry was still away, foraging. Fritigern did not rush. He sent envoys under white flags, stalling for... Valens hesitated. The heat was unbearable. His men were exhausted, discipline frayed. Then chaos. Whether by accident or arrogance, Roman cavalry charged without orders. The battle ignited. The day the legions broke, dust exploded into the air. Arrows darkened the sky. Gothic infantry surged forward, shields clashing, axes swinging. The Roman formation bent, but did not yet break. Then the earth began to tremble. From the horizon came the thunder of hoofs. Gothic cavalry, returning at the perfect moment, slammed into Rome's exposed flanks. Heavy horsemen and allied alans crashed into the Roman sides like a storm tide. The legions were surrounded. Command signals failed. Units became isolated. Soldiers fought shoulder to shoulder, choking in dust and heat. The sun burned overhead as screams replaced commands. A Roman officer, according to later chroniclers, cried out, "Stand fast. Remember you are Romans." But Rome's old discipline could not save them. The Gothic onslaught was relentless. Emperor Valens himself vanished in the chaos. Some said he was struck by an arrow. Others claimed he sought shelter in a farmhouse that was set ablaze by enemies who did not know whom they burned. His body was never found. An emperor of Rome, dead on the battlefield and buried, something unheard of in centuries. A world changed by sunset, the field belonged to the Goths. 2/3 of the Eastern Roman army lay dead. Senior officers were slaughtered. Elite units wiped from existence. Never before had Rome suffered such a catastrophe at the hands of so-called barbarians. The historian Ammianus Marcellinus, who lived through the era, wrote, "This was the beginning of the evils that would later fall upon the Roman world." Though the Eastern Empire would survive, the illusion of Roman invincibility was shattered forever. They were now a permanent force inside Roman territory, negotiated with feared and eventually settled as semi-independent allies. Decades later, their descendants would sack Rome itself. Life after the battle in the towns of Thrace life slowly resumed, scarred and cautious. Farmers returned to burned fields. Blacksmiths reforged broken weapons. Widows gathered at shrines, lighting oil lamps for husbands who never came home. Roman soldiers now spoke of the Goths not as savages, but as warriors to be respected. And among the Goths, songs were sung of the day they broke the legions. Around campfires, elders told their children, "Remember Adrianople? That was the day Rome learned fear. Rome did not fall that day, but it changed forever." The Battle of Adrianople marked the moment when imperial power could no longer rely on discipline alone. The old military machine had met a new world, mobile, desperate, and unstoppable. From that dust-covered battlefield rose a truth history would never forget. Empires do not fall in a single night. They fall the day they believe they cannot, and on that burning August afternoon in 378, Rome's shadow began to shorten